Welcome back. The 2024 elections may still be years, literally, away, but former President Donald Trump is already taking aim at some fellow Republicans.
He's backing primary challengers against these 12 GOP incumbents as Trump himself prepares for another possible run at the White House.
NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hillyard joins us now with more. Hey, Vaughn, great to have you on set with us. Okay, those are just little tiny tiles. Take us through this list. Who's on it and why are they on it?
Right, we're calling this a Big 12 because in the months ahead, these Republican incumbents are going to be facing primary challengers from fellow Republicans. These individuals raised Donald Trump's ire over the last year especially. They either voted to certify the 2020 election or they voted to impeach him here. And so that is why the former president now wants them out. And he's using his political capital to go around the country. This weekend in Michigan, two congressmen are from Michigan. A week ago, two of the other individuals on that Big 12 list were from Georgia. 4 weeks ago, he was in South Carolina, where two other members of that Big 12 are on the list. So it's very clear why he is going to these places and who he's targeting.
We know Republicans have a strong chance of taking back the House. Are there any worries that any infighting within the party could hurt that, or that the party could pick some candidates who are just too extreme in some of these districts?
There is concern. There is one gentleman, Fred Upton. He's been a congressman for more than 30 years in Michigan. And he says, look, if you go and run me out of town, you run the risk with a Trump-backed candidate of losing my Michigan seat here. And I actually was in Washington last week and talked with not only Fred Upton, but another congressman, Tom Rice, who he would describe himself as a Trump Republican, voted with him 94% of the time, but ultimately, after the January 6th insurrection, voted to impeach him. Take a listen to part of our conversation.
Trump is driven by a few things. He's driven by recognition. He wants to be recognized. He's driven by power, and he's driven by revenge. Of anybody I've ever met, he's probably the most spiteful, vengeful person I've ever met.
And so now the question is Trump successful in ousting some of these individuals who impeached him or certified the election? Or is he going to throw up some losses? And is there a potential opening that a Trump endorsement maybe isn't as influential as the former president thinks?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the Republican Party as a whole. I mean, when you think about somebody like the former president and then somebody on that list like Representative Cheney, the divide's very far just between the two of them within the party. What is the shape of the party? Is there room for the Donald Trumps and the more moderate GOP?
This has nothing to do with policy. That's the crazy part about this. And even Donald Trump will acknowledge that up on stage. Peter Meijer, another one of those Republicans who voted to impeach him from Michigan, on stage this weekend at the Trump rally that I was at just north of Detroit, he said he made the wrong vote. Again, it had nothing to do with Peter Meijer's policies. It all had to do with that impeachment vote against him, and that is why he has come out with a challenger against him. But you mentioned Liz Cheney, who is now sort of this anti-Trump leading Republican here, and that is where this party finds itself. If Donald Trump is not successful in ousting the likes of Liz Cheney and some of these other Republicans, potentially there's an opening for the likes of a Mike Pence or a Ron DeSantis to lay claim to some of that power within the party if individuals like Liz Cheney, Tom Rice, Peter Meijer, Fred Upton decide to coalesce around somebody who is not Donald Trump.
Yeah. So much to watch for already.
And we're already watching. We've got our binoculars on.
Big impact in 2022 will have impact on that 2024
Yeah, that's true.
That is why these next 4 months are going to be so important.
Absolutely. And you will be on the road for us, covering it all. Vaughn Hillyard, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.